It is Tuesday, December 2nd. Candace Owens dropping a new Charlie Kirk assassination bombshell. Bombshell suggesting TPUSA leadership is somehow complicit, saying she knows now who killed Charlie. We're going to look into it. President Trump's cabinet meeting today confirming Somalia is out. No more Somalians will come into the United States, saying their country stinks. They contribute nothing. They are out, Trump says. Kristi Noem begins investigating Tim Walz's state of fraud. And today is the day in Tennessee, a major special election that could be about to flip Tennessee's 7th congressional district blue for the first time in a long time. We have the latest on the race. Voting happening right now. Results coming in.
I asserted that the French Foreign Legion, which was a legion and a group that I had never heard about prior to this notification, were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Candace Owens back from her hiatus, shutting down her show last week, her record-hitting show, claiming that the First Lady of France put out a hit on her, farmed out her assassination to the French Foreign Legion, the French Legionnaires. Well, she's back, and now posting on X this morning, I received information last night that put the final pieces together for me. I now can say with full confidence that I believe Charlie Kirk was betrayed by the leadership of Turning Point USA and some of the very people who eulogized him on stage. Yes, I will be naming names and providing evidence for my claims, and I am making a personal plea to every well-meaning person who donated to this godforsaken organization to request a refund. You were lied to, and leadership knew.
Now, going back to November 25th, I obviously tweeted exactly what I was informed. Okay, I'm going to read that tweet to you in its entirety. Urgent. 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high-ranking employee of the French government. After determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple, I have deemed the information that they gave me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims the Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. Yes, you read that correctly. More specifically, that the green light was given to a small team in the National Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I am told there is one Israeli that is on the assassination squad and that plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further to this point, this person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement. This person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement. Journalist Xavier Poussard's life is also at risk. This is deadly serious. The head of state of France apparently wants us both dead and has authorized professional units to carry this out. I ask that every person retweet and share this. I do not know who in the American government can be trusted since this source claims that our leaders are aware. But I have more specific information, which is definitively verifiable, should they care to reach out to me. And to the brave official in France who did this because they were so moved by the evil of Charlie's public execution to risk their own life, may God bless you truly. Let all be revealed. Now, I got even more specific, right? I said there was a paper trail that Macron allegedly paid $1.5 million. And I am saying allegedly because until I can physically see with my own eyes inside of these accounts and verify the transfer of that payment, it's of course alleged. The amount is alleged. 2 assassins were hired, one Israeli, one French Canadian woman. Okay, a man and a woman. And I also said that the money ran through the elite gentleman Club des Cent. Again, I was very specific. And I asserted that the French Foreign Legion, which was a legion and a group that I had never heard about prior to this notification, were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Okay, I asserted that the French Foreign Legion, which was a legion and a group that I had never heard about prior to this notification, were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Okay, I don't follow military stuff. So me even mentioning specific gendarmerie, you have to assume that I got this information from somebody.
Let me know what you think. At this point, it's hard to take any of this too seriously. It's not just the Charlie Kirk assassination was a conspiracy, which I was willing to listen to, but now she's tying it to Brigitte Macron, the 80-year-old alleged transsexual Brigitte Macron, farming out the job to the French Foreign Legion. So now all of this is connected. They assassinated Charlie, but TPUSA betrayed Charlie, and Brigitte's now also ordered a hit out on you. I am a sucker for a conspiracy. I am all in on JFK, MLK, but I'm not following the threads on this one. Let me know what you think. President Trump meeting with his national security team last night, being briefed on the Washington Post report that Hegseth ordered a follow-on strike on a drug boat on September 2nd, killing 2 survivors. The Washington Post claiming in the story that Hegseth gave an order to kill everybody, writing this is a war crime. Since publishing that story, though, the New York Times has now debunked it entirely, that Pete Hegseth didn't give the order in the moment, like the Post said, claiming that Pete saw the strike happen. That's what the Washington Post said. Saw the strike happen, saw that 2 survivors were just floating in the water, and he ordered his commander to finish them off. It turns out, no, that's not what happened at all, yet it hasn't stopped the media and both Democrats and Republicans, rhino Republicans like Lisa Murkowski, from piling on. Watch.
I think what we have heard shocked us all. And I think most would say that when you have 2 individuals that are literally floating in the water, a second order to kill them all is not something that we would consider within the rules of war.
That was Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, one of the Republican senators who opposed Hegseth's nomination last year to lead the Department of Defense. She couldn't wait for this chance to jump on the bandwagon here. The White House setting the record straight, confirming there was a second strike, but it didn't happen at all like the Post claimed.
September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth ripping reporters to their faces today at the cabinet meeting. President Trump holding his 9th cabinet meeting today, letting them have it on this story. Watch what happened.
The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back. And the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded in fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
And Mr. Secretary, on the second strike, you said it happened more than an hour after the first. Did I hear it
I couldn't tell you
correctly?
the exact amount of time.
Minutes, or you went off the room, is what you're saying.
I already stated my answer quite clearly.
In this same cabinet meeting, the president, like always, allowing the press corps to listen in, brief the American people on their progress, and getting everyone on board with the new reverse migration policy, halting all asylum decisions immediately and indefinitely. The president taking questions about this, reporters asking, why, Mr. President, are you targeting third world countries like Somalia? I wonder why. Why, oh why, would the president not want Somalis coming into our country anymore?
Which is barely a country. You know, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. There's no structure. And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America, is a bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. But when I watch what is happening in Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, or however many lakes they have, they got a lot of lakes, but this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off, and now I'm understanding, and you're going to look into that, Scott, I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem dropping a bombshell of her own in the cabinet room, revealing that President Trump tasked her to investigate the billions in taxpayer fraud committed by the Somali community in Minnesota. I want my own investigation. Find out what really happened, what's currently happening there. Well, she did, taking aim at Governor Tim Walz, and broke down just how bad the initial estimates are, that the level of fraud, she says, is staggering. Watch.
You know, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back. And we're going to, this next year, make sure that we only put people in leadership positions in this country that love this country and have its back.
Today is the day. Tennessee's special congressional election for the 7th District. We've covered this race numerous times, and today's the day. Voting is happening as we speak. The polls closing at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We should have results hopefully shortly thereafter. This is for a district, by the way, that Trump won by 20-plus points last year. The race is between Republican Matt Van Epps, a veteran, and self-avowed socialist Afton Bain. We've played clips of this Afton Bain character. The clip, I'm sure everyone saw, her admitting how much she hates her own city, Nashville, the city that she represents, hates everything about it, how she wants to defund the police, and yet she's within the margin of error. How does something like that happen? Latest polling from yesterday has Matt Van Epps leading by only 2.4 points. That is close, too close for comfort. The president holding tele-rallies for Van Epps now, trying to get him over the finish line. If you live in Tennessee, get out and vote. Things aren't looking too good right now. Every seat matters. It's possible, folks. It's possible that Republicans could lose the majority in the House before the midterm elections even start, with all these special elections and with congressmen resigning. Marjorie Taylor Greene just resigned. That's what happens most of the time. These Congress people, they decide to resign during the holidays or around the holidays. The infighting in the Republican Party, it's having its toll. Approval ratings are suffering, clearly. We'll keep you posted on tonight's race. It's a big one. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.